Hi, everyone. So happy to be here today. Good morning. Let me try if this works. And I will also be using some shades because the sun is so strong in Dubai. Amazing. So let's start. I see the slides, everything. Good. I'm Nicolo Dercole, and I work as a Vice President for Technology and AI at Sportradar. At Sportradar, we've been working on AI for a very long time. There's been people working on AI at Sportradar for, I guess, since the very beginning of its history. And before joining Sportradar, I've been for many years at Google. I worked on many innovations that Google did on the AI field, from Google Assistant, all days, old-style AI, then on-device AI on phones, finally a Google Cloud, and then I was leading the work on the Gemini APIs that is now being continued very strongly by my former team. And now, since a year, I've been working at Sportradar with a very big AI team. There's been other people from Google that also joined, and plus all of the folks that were already there doing a great amount of work on AI, traditional AI, and generative AI. Okay, good. What about Sportradar? Sportradar is, when you think of data and you think of sport, that's what you can really imagine Sportradar being at the center of it. It's an intersection of like data, technology, and sport. We are a B2B company, primarily. We serve three main categories of customers. We do produce odds and live data for the biggest betting and gaming operators in the world. We have, some exclusive data rights, exclusive odds production. We serve like the likes of FanDuel, Bet365, DraftKings. They're all coming to us to get their data, to get the most up-to-date odds, etc. We serve the media, digital, and broadcast, like all of big techs. When you search for, I don't know, what's going on with this game on Google, etc., that's us. We're giving them that data. When you ask ChatGPT, what's the result of the game last night? Same. And as well, we work a lot close with sporting bodies and teams, with leagues, federation. We have exclusive rights from NBA, from NHL, from many of these. This is just a few. We work with FIFA, etc. And it's really great to be working with all of these folks. We really work cross-functionally with all of them. In terms of data, we covered more than 1 million events every year, like sport events, matches, anything for any kind of sport. There's been sports that I didn't even know they existed when I joined Sportradar that I discovered there. In fact, there's more than 85 sports that we cover. And we have, as I said, these are just a few, but we have more than 900 media and broadcast clients around the world, and we serve more than 800 sport books. But let's talk about AI. I think everyone understands very well, and we saw it in the talk even earlier today, that AI really has been changing the world and already has changed the world. Like, this is just a few examples, but like when you think of the potential with self-driving cars, even with agriculture, with health, protein folding expectations, like now in protein folding, it's possible to do in the span of a couple of hours what you needed an entire PhD, a person working for 3-4 years to study how a protein will fold. And this really helps creating new medicines, new compounds, things that might work or not and be ready for experimentation. And also, obviously, for the consumers, when ChatGPT came out, it was a big revolution for everyone. It is, so far, the biggest consumer product in terms of adoption in history. There was never a consumer product that had this fast adoption rate in history. And it's been really catching fires. Like everyone, I guess, from schools and studying everywhere, they decided that, they could get help. And the reason why this works is because it's really useful. When we were working on many chatbots, etc., in the past, we saw very, very easily that we have an airplane here. We saw very easily that it was really hard to get people to chat to a bot, and I think that's really true also today. Unless you can ask anything you want, and you can be so natural. So this AI bot is really changed the way we look at certain type of technologies. Of course, and it is changing sports. So it has been changing the entire world. Sports is always at the edge. We understand very well how athletes leagues. They're always trying to find a new way to be a little bit ahead of the opponents and to how to engage fan better. And of course, all of them embraced AI very quickly. We have, an example from ESPN. We had an example from Puma for Manchester City that let you customize T-shirts any way you want. We had great examples of, IBM doing things for Wimbledon's like predictions, likelihood. Very great examples of how AI was adopted in sports everywhere. There's even more. Like we've seen. UFC now does a lot of insights generation, automatic advertising. Everything is done through AI at a much bigger scale, and we will talk about it a little bit through this talk. What are we doing at Sportradar? Well, since we've been doing a lot of AI before the Gen AI revolution, so to compute odds, to compute things, to do integrity research, all of these things were already using a lot of AI models. Computer vision, all of the things that you can classify under traditional AI were already happening at Sportradar. But since the Gen AI revolution started, we really started putting together a sort of brain that is able to put all of our data, everything we have, from statistic, odds data, entity and ID map, everything, plus even publicly available stuff, into a single source. And this is one of the biggest and hardest thing to do in any company that is trying to do AI. How do you bring all of your data, everything that you have together? So, because for so many companies, it's so easy to say, we have a lot of stuff. We should be able to build a bot that can put all of these things together. But until the day before, everyone was working in compartments, in departments, in different strategies, different technologies, and everything. So when you try to start pulling these things together, you discover that it's very hard for these pieces, for these different things to communicate. And basically, we've been working on that. Like we're centralized and unified all of these data sources so that we have like agents, layers of agents that can talk and put together all of this information and make it useful for AI. These are just a few examples of the things we've been building with this. First of all, conversational tools. Basically, we are able to build bots that can answer complex stars questions. The most complex one that you can imagine, we've been trying. This is just an example. But like how many pitchers have lost both games of a doubleheader without allowing an earned run? This is a baseball question, obviously. And you can see how this bot is thinking, going through all the data, figuring out what to do, and then it gives you the answer. Now, you can go and try this kind of questions to every commercial chatbot, and you will discover that it doesn't work. It doesn't know exactly what this data is unless it was reported specifically in the news that they can search. But otherwise, the statistics are not available to them. And the reason why is that they don't have the data behind it. Like the models we use the same model that they use. We actually are some of their customers. But the data that each company has can allow these bots to go a lot deeper. And so the first most important takeaway from this is that if you have data, especially exclusive data, and data that is not only on one source, but if you are able to combine data, then you have a little bit of a treasure, something that can be exploited to build great AI solutions. Of course, this conversational bot, we're using them for many purposes. Here, the one that you see here, we use it for some researchers, basically broadcasters. They come to us and say, okay, I want to know what is going on, when is the last time that this has happened, etc. And before that, we had like people trying to look into our databases and give an answer. And our answer sometimes would take 3, 4, 5 minutes just to find the right one. Now this broadcaster, they can just go to this bot and get the right answer right away in the span of 10, 15 seconds. And of course, the comment they're able to do live on TV is going to be a lot more timely just because of this. Plus cheaper, obviously. We don't have the researchers working there. There's also these conversational tools can also do more for us. Sorry, this went back. You can build experiences where basically you have AI-powered match assistant for betting. Basically, it allows you to, I'll try to play the video if it doesn't work. It allows you to, let's see. Okay, now it's playing. It allows you to do things that you were not able to do before. For example, when a casual better, a new type of fan is joining a website and wants to just have a small fun bet, and they want to understand, okay, what was the last time this happened? I want to bet on some guy scoring as he scored in the last 3-4 games. What's the normal results? Like all of these questions you can ask and you can get answers suggested. You basically bring conversational aspects and you are able to engage a lot more some casual person that just want to enjoy a game and add a little bit of betting on it. So this is something that we already have available and that many of our customers are starting to integrate and use. Next one, of course, is multimodal content creation. You all know very well that for every event in sports, there is at least 100 stories. There's many angles. There's many ways you can tell the same story. There is the point of view of the fan of a single player. There's the point of view of the supporter of the team that won. There's the point of view of the supporter of the team that lost. And there's different languages. And there is, of course, the point of view of the person that has understand every aspect of the game, while there is people that are just a lot more disengaged and just want to know how the thing was going. To generate all of this content is usually very hard. Now AI gives us the possibility to really go and target at scale multiple different kind of people, personalities, languages, and personas in general. So for example, here we have...
Football fans, get ready for a Premier League clash absolutely packed with drama. It's David Moyes leading his resurgent Everton against his former and frankly ailing club, West Ham United. A narrative unfolding at Hill...
So you can see this one, I'll just stop it, it goes for a long time. It's a small story about a game and it describes exactly what is going on, and it was from the perspective of a Manchester United fan. You can also generate a podcast that is just like back and forth discussing statistics, etc.
Right,
for example,
big
here.
Premier League match coming up. Everton hosting West Ham at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. It's quite the narrative, isn't it?
Absolutely. David Moyes, now at Everton, is facing his old club West Ham, who he famously led to European silverware. But their fortunes couldn't be more...
So as you can hear very briefly, I don't want to go for minutes here, the AI identified that there was a precedence, that their former coach of one team is now coaching the other team. They're trying to do well, etc. And there is a debate that you can generate with these two people. There's lots of type of things like this. We also do video generation. So this is the avatar of one of our journalists. We completely digitized him, and he's able to do short videos for news of all different kinds.
Guys, could we see Formula One racing in Thailand soon? Well, it's looking more and more possible. F1 boss Stefano Domenicali has just revealed that there's real interest from the Thai government in bringing a Grand Prix to the country. And guess what? He's already heading to Bangkok after the Melbourne.
And well, he knows how to speak English, but he doesn't know how to speak Spanish.
La Fórmula 1 podría llegar a Tailandia. El jefe de la F1, Stefano Domenicali, confirma el interés del gobierno y que el país ya cuenta con un circuito adecuado.
So yeah, basically this is just a short example. These videos were all generated. We recorded him for some things, and then everything else was completely generated. The news, the artifacts on the video cutting, and of course you can translate this in as many languages as you want. Gives you a ton of extra speed. Again, the point is that AI gives the opportunity to engage fan in a lot more detailed way. Another area where this is very fundamental is on advertisement. You can hear small audio ads here.
The NBA playoffs are here, and with FanDuel, your group chat is about to be going off. Because right now, new customers...
Okay, let's not go through the entire ads. Let's going to talk about an offers, etc. But what is really important is, of course, the technical aspects. There's music in background. Everything works perfectly. You can now, today, the technology is good enough that you can do soundtracks and talking perfectly synchronized with great voices, more excited, less excited, etc., depending on the audience you're targeting. What's really matter is that with AI, you can target the right moment, the right audience, and with the right message. Basically, you can imagine that during a game, and there's many, many games happening at any moment, there's always something that is happening. There is a new player, maybe the fan of a little village, reaching a new milestone, a new record, doing something, like, for the first time starting the game. There is, things that are happening that are very important for a small village, for a small city, versus things that are happening that, no one else care about beside, I don't know, a neighborhood of that zone. And now with AI, you can really understand, okay, which are all of these small moments that are happening one by one, and target them. Okay, so there is this small moment here that is important to only a small minority of people, or sometimes even a very big moment for a city. How do I target this to the right audience? And then, of course, you can pick, okay, these are, because you know your audience, these are the people I'm going to send these ads to. And what kind of message do you send? So AI allows you, because it allows for, as we saw earlier, for content creation at scale, then, of course, you can do all of these things and basically be successful with it. So we saw, to recap, how Gen AI allows you to do conversational, allows you to do content generation at a crazy scale with marginal cost near zero, and how it allows you to target people in a way more precise way. These are all things that are already happening today, and I think everyone should pay attention to them. But there is more. There is more to it. Gen AI, the thing that we saw so far, are all things that are basically using these Gen AI models provided by basically the big tech AI giants. Can be OpenAI, can be Claude Anthropic, can be Google Gemini, or Amazon Nova, or all the others. There are several also very good ones from China now. But basically, these models are about text and content generation. They're very generic. There is more to it, meaning that the same architecture, the so-called transformer architecture, can be applied to other things. And we'll talk about it in a minute. But let me do this a little bit of history. So in sports, people have been tracking data since the very beginning of it. In the 1950s, there's people in England football, in English football, they basically started manually counting all of the passes and putting them down in notebooks and publishing statistics. Famously, also in baseball, we have statistics since the beginning of last century about everything that was going on. Baseball is arguably easier to have statistics. There is a pause, and there's always a one-against-one type of situation. But you can start counting this thing and start trying to figure out intelligence about it. How many passes is this person doing? How many shots on goals, etc. How many corners? How many penalties? It's very hard. It's very manual. But people were still trying. Since the 1990s, there's been an entire revolution on it, where basically people started wearing tracking devices, GPS, vests, and computer vision, then using computer vision later to basically track where everyone was on the field. Like, the change is really huge. And people started being able to track how fast you're running, how long have you run, where have you been the entire time on your field. In around 2010, basically, at halftime break, every soccer player would get, okay, this is your hot area. I think you should be more in this space. You're too much there. Like, people were able to start seeing what they were doing during the game, essentially live. Computer vision over time went above and beyond this. They started being able to track just with cameras every angle of your body, every point. What we're doing today is we're tracking 29 body positions. It's an odd number because you have the head, and then everything else is even. And 29 body position for every person, 60 times a second. So you can imagine like how accurate this thing is. And you're tracking everything, for example, about the ball, the rotation of the ball, the speed at which the ball is going, the acceleration, everything that you can derive from these metrics is an enormous trove of data. But it's very hard. What do you do with these metrics? Like, this is the question. And basically, I heard just 2 weeks ago from Jamie Carragher, former Liverpool legend, that when they started tracking all of this data, one of the insane things was that people started running just on the court without any sense, especially towards the end of the game, just to pump up their statistics. And so it's like, why? And he was telling me, I was asking them, hey, why are you running? Like, oh, no worries, I thought the ball was going there. People were kind of not even telling the truth about how important for them was to kind of pad their statistics. And why? This is just because those statistics were just numbers. There was not a clear understanding of what you were doing with them. And another big example was Jaap Stam, super famous defender of Manchester United, was at some point traded because everyone saw in the statistics that the capability of doing tackles for him was going down. He was doing less and less tackles. In reality, what was happening was that he was getting better at positioning. He was getting better at staying in the field at the right place at the right time without needing to do a tackle, which is kind of an emergency procedure you do only at the end. This kind of things were so hard to understand with this data. You just see a data, you see number of tackles going down. What you do with it, oh, maybe this defender is not as good as he used to be. You trade him, and that turns out to be a big mistake. Sir Ferguson said that basically that was his biggest trading mistake he ever did, to trade Stam due to those metrics. So since the 2010, we started with computing powers and AI, started to try to, okay, can we get more understanding with this data? There's always a feeling, I have all of this data, but no one can replace a human expert. How do you replace a human expert? Okay, you know how much is running, but is it good? What's the impact on the game? These were the things that were very hard to understand. And so we started doing derived metrics, categorizations, and the things that you're basically able to do today are kind of still very interesting. I give you a few examples. Now, with acceleration, you can start seeing when your player is starting to be tired. And if he's recovering from an injury, just came back, etc., you can pull him out just before he gets too tired and maybe risk being injured again. You can basically tell him and see how good he's shooting, the quality of his shot, by just looking at how the ball accelerates on what's the rotation of the ball. So how well you can control the ball spin, how consistent you can be with the ball spin. All of these things are now computed with derived metrics. You have all of these metrics, and now you can derive other metrics that give you more intelligence. And you can start categorizing. For example, now you can see all of these movements and say, hey, can I look for all the times this defender faced a 2 versus 1 situation and how he behaved there? And bam, you immediately, 1 minute later, you get all of the videos from the last 5 years when this defender faced 2 attackers at the same time in a 2v1, and you get these things. These are just advancements in scouting, coaching, etc. But the question, so it's what's next? And I go back to what I was saying to the models earlier. There is this concept of foundation models. So the transformer architecture allows you not just to build and predict what the next word is, but you can use the same kind of technology for essentially everything. There's people that have been experimenting with DNA. It's like, I give you a DNA, can you predict the next DNA structure? So ChatGPT is predicting what's the next word in your answer, word by word, and it sounds super intelligent. You can build, using the same concepts, models that are able to predict what's gonna happen next. You give these models billions of all of those body positioning I was talking, super accurate body positioning, and this model is essentially looking at every game. He's looking at all the games in history in a way that no one can look at, like looking at every micro movement. I don't know why we skipped. And essentially understanding how the movement resulted in a good action or not. There's basically, when you look at these things like this, above is the video, and below is what the model sees, some form of rendering. They're see all of the players, how they're positioned in the field, what's the distance, what's everything, where is the ball, where people are. And at the same time, they're able to see, okay, what was the footwork, what was the body angle, what was the twist of the shoulders, what was the speed the defender was closing at, what was the distance from the two ends, like what was the release time. And all of these things are really like combined together. This model at some point starts to understand really like what's every little move that you do, what's the impact that it has on an action, on every action, both defensively or offensively. Sometimes you can put Messi on a field And even if he's not moving, he's attracting 3 defenders, so everyone else has more opportunities to score. And these models are able to understand that, every player has a way of attracting, we call this gravity, and free other players, and is able to judge players this way. So once you get an understanding of all of these things, you can get to crazy predictive statistics, like who over or underperformed their expectation, who's the best passer in the league, who's the worst drive defender, all of these things. We're doing this in collaboration with the NBA, our first big foundation model. And you can see this was just compiled a couple of weeks ago, went viral on Twitter, where basically we saw that the best playmakers in the league is actually a center, is Jokic. Is the one passer that when he does a pass, he increases the likelihood of scoring next more than anyone else, because he does the best, more unpredictable passes. What is this useful for? Essentially everything. It is useful for coaching. Coaches can have very good understanding of how a player is playing. They can have fantastic understanding of what's the best lineup to play against a lineup of an opposing company. They can have an understanding also in terms of scouting. One thing that we're doing with our products is to provide an ability to compare what was a player 5 years ago that is now great. It's like, who are the players today in university or in a minor league that were behaving similar to that player that is now great today, in terms of acceleration, movement, positioning in the field, quality of the shot release, all of these things, they're all considered holistically. It's basically looking at the eyes, looking at a match with the eyes of a superhuman expert, more expert than a human. And this is definitely going to change things. For scouting, even more, it's not about who's the best player, but who's the best player for my system. It's completely different. It's a completely different type of question that is going to answer. You might need a player or another player depending on how you play, what's your organization. Finally, a simple example is video augmentation. We're doing this is live with NBC. We're doing this in NBA. It's called Performance View. We provide all of the 3D rendering for it. I want to go back and show it to you. You see all of the circle, 24%. This is the probability that he's going to shoot. 14%, and he made the shot. So while the model was able to predict that he will make the shot with a 14% chance, yet he made it. We're going to talk about this in a minute. Let's see, we find the name of every person. We see the position at the top. We see statistics. Everything is computed live. And the first metric we're having is like, okay, given where we are, how close is the defender? You can see the defender is insanely close here. And, still made it. It doesn't want to let us see the video anymore. Anyway, that was just a great example of how that model can also be applied to media use cases. One thing that I noticed in all of these things, to finish, is like, why is AI so well received in sports? And there's many answers. Of course, it's a new opportunity to find an advantage. You have these technologies, they all allow you to gain a little edge, figure out little new things, and all the sport people, they're all so interested. When we were talking with some of the players, even the ones that stopped playing now, they say, oh, I wish I had this stuff. I wish I had the thing that told me to stop playing now in order to avoid a new injury. I wish I had the thing that would tell me like what little details that person was doing better than me. It's also a technology that levels the playing field. If a small team adopts AI, it can operate and deliver better above the average of their spending. There's been many teams that now have been doing this kind of adoption of technology, and it allowed them to perform better than what it would have been expected, to punch over their weight, basically. And so AI is kind of seen as a playing level field. And you get more engaged fans. We discussed ads, everything. So there's very beneficial. And stronger integrity. This model understands really how do you behave. Right now, essentially, integrity, all of the integrity AI models, the ones that we do that are really leading in the world. I think we're basically the only one sport company that does integrity and cooperates with all of the major police forces in the world, et cetera. You look at patterns of betting. If you see even multiple micro bets on an event that someone is getting a yellow card, et cetera, that's where we trigger. But here, Now with this model really understanding how you're moving, etc., we can have even behavior. And sorry, the slides keep moving independently. You can have even behavior, but really see, okay, this person is now 5% slower than he actually is. Maybe is not behaving with the perfect integrity. Finally, and I finish, is the human factor. In sports, it's still everything based on the human. AI can only help. It will give you more information. But the moments when you execute under pressure, we saw that shot from Harden at 14%. You know, the model said you're going to score 14%. Maybe the best choice would have been not to shoot, but he shot and he made it. Like what some champions are going to do at the right moment, at the right time, what the best trainers are going to do in terms of emotional intelligence, a model cannot predict. So they see AI as a fantastic help, as a fantastic addition, but not as a replacement. Because still, we say it for chess, these models are like almost like understanding of chess, right? What we see is that they are able to, even if chess now is better than any human, there is still, no one has been as famous as the most recent world champion in the history of chess. So, well, with this, I want to say thank you to everyone. And I also want to invite everyone to reach out to us. Me and Adam, we're here today. If you want to talk, I think that AI, especially for a B2B company, is about delivering it to customers, to fans, to leagues. And so we're really happy to build things together. You build AI and you succeed only when you build with real use cases in mind. So looking forward to chat later today. Thank you very much.